There's a pandemic out there, but it's not the one you've been told to fear. It's a pandemic of distrust, and its symptoms are all around us. People are skeptical of authority, questioning every word from officials who stand in front of a microphone. For many, the assumption is simple. If their lips are moving, they're lying, or at the very least, spinning state propaganda. I'll admit it, I have these symptoms. I've arrived here after years of questioning, researching, and thinking critically. And let me be clear, I have no intention of seeking a cure. Government is not, and should never be, blindly trusted. My only regret is that it took me so long to see it. So say it loud and say it clear. I don't trust the government, and I'm proud of it. This week, the distrust pandemic gained new fuel when a so-called health expert urged the Biden administration to authorize the bird flu vaccine before Donald Trump takes office. Dr. Leana Wen, the former Baltimore health commissioner, suggested expanding testing for bird flu and prepping vaccines for H5N1 after a reported case in Louisiana. Here's the report. A severely ill patient in Louisiana was diagnosed with a strain of bird flu. Researchers isolated the virus and discovered mutations that make it more likely to bind to human airway receptors. In other words, bird flu may now be closer to crossing over into humans.
Dr. Leana Wen, it's great to have you with us. So, bird flu. Is this report out of Louisiana worrisome? And if so, why?
Well, it's one more sign that the drumbeat of bird flu coming closer to humans is becoming a major threat. So we've already seen this year that there have been a number of mammalian species close to humans that now have bird flu outbreaks. We have outbreaks in poultry in all 50 states. 16 states have outbreaks in cattle. In California, in the last 30 days, there have been more than 300 herds that tested positive. And now we have 66 cases of bird flu in humans.
Dr. Wen pointed to mammalian species contracting bird flu, outbreaks in poultry across all 50 states, and even infections in cattle in California. In the past 30 days, over 300 herds have tested positive. Officially, 66 human cases of bird flu have been reported, but this is likely an undercount because testing has been woefully inadequate. Does any of this sound familiar? Not enough testing, they say. We've heard it before. Remember the narrative during COVID? You don't know you have it unless you're tested. It became a meme, a punchline, and for good reason. Distrust in authority during the COVID era left many people questioning the official line on everything. Real-world data, like that from Germany, exposed the discrepancies. According to the German Federal Ministry of Health, the clinical record for 2020 showed no unusual respiratory diseases. Age-standardized mortality didn't increase during the so-called pandemic until 2021, and those who died from or with COVID, their average age was 82 to 83 years, close to life expectancy. These facts were ignored or dismissed by governments and media alike, leaving people feeling lied to and manipulated. And now, with bird flu, we're expected to trust the same authorities that eroded public confidence during COVID. Forgive me if I don't buy it. Let's not ignore the bigger picture here. Bird flu primarily affects poultry and cattle, key sources of our food supply. Is it a coincidence that the problem species are the very ones providing us with beef, chicken, eggs, and milk? Call me a conspiracist, but could bird flu be setting the stage for mass culling and the replacement of real food with synthetic alternatives? Remember, during COVID, livestock herds were culled under the guise of disease control. What's stopping authorities from doing it again? And when it happens, what will we be left with? Bug protein, lab-grown meat. The pattern is too glaring to ignore. Let's circle back to trust, or the lack thereof. This crisis of confidence isn't limited to health policies. It's evident in the current discussions about banning TikTok. Platforms like TikTok became lifelines during COVID, offering an escape from state-driven propaganda. Many younger people turned to it as a way to hear perspectives that mainstream media suppressed. Now, the Biden administration is defending a TikTok ban, citing national security concerns over its Chinese ownership. But let's not kid ourselves. This is about controlling narratives. As former President Trump pointed out, banning a platform used by 170 million Americans has sweeping First Amendment implications. Governments know they've lost the trust of their people. Banning platforms, silencing dissent, and labeling critical thinkers as conspiracists are desperate attempts to regain control. But it won't work. We've entered a new era. Distrust in authority has gone from being a pandemic to being endemic. It's woven into the fabric of how millions of us think. When the government warns us about bird flu, people ask, what's the real agenda? When a platform like TikTok is banned, people see censorship, not security. The authorities have only themselves to blame. Their lies, propaganda, and fear-mongering have left a generation skeptical and unwilling to comply blindly. For many of us, the next big health scare, the next ban, the next state directive, none of it will be taken at face value. This matters profoundly. Trust is the foundation of any society, and it's been shattered. The state's war on free speech and its efforts to silence dissent only deepen the divide. Questioning, critically thinking individuals will always find ways to communicate, to resist, and to challenge the narrative. So to the authorities spinning their latest stories, I say this: the people are no longer listening, and you have no one to blame but yourselves. Thank you for tuning in. Stay skeptical, stay informed, and above all, keep questioning. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. See you on the next one.